Hello everyone again, Volker Butzek here, and it is my great pleasure to actually queuing in my fellow co-conspirator on many things CAP and more than early adopter Gregor Wolf, who will show how CAP can do a better support launchpad than the support launchpad. Gregor, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Volker. And yeah, actually, that project I want to share started at a so-called SAP workspace. That is a event that is organized or was started by also a well-known community fellow, Jakob Flammen, who is from the SAP Stammtisch in Bern. And when you look here at the wiki page for the SAP Stammtisch Bern, you will see this workshop list. And every Friday from 2 to 4 Central European summertime, or also then in the wintertime, there is like an open workspace. And one day, Jakob said, yeah, they want to analyze their SAP support messages. And then, hearing about that, we went into the SAP support Launchpad, as I'm logged on here, and had a look. As you see, that's looking like an SAP Launchpad environment with all these groups and tiles. And you see the tiles also have numbers. And basically, I just tested and clicked on one of these links. And what we found out is actually here are some requests going on. And these requests basically go to a service called this incident WS. And we see a very familiar thing when you're working with OData. You see this $batch. And so let's have a look on the details. So in this $batch, we see that there is here some answer really nicely in JSON. And in the header, when we scroll down to the far end, we will also see that there are several GET requests here. So that looks basically like an OData service. So let's see what we can do with this OData service. Opens it up in another tab. Of course, the batch request must be sent as a post. So I will switch to a normal GET request, and without adding anything on the base URL of the service, I get a list of entities, but of course in JSON, which I don't like. So let's do the $format equals JSON. And here we have nicely JSON, all the entity sets available. As an OData service, it's documenting itself. And so we can also try if we find a $metadata file for the service. And of course we do. So, and as we've seen already in the morning from Leo in the presentation, it was Jörn, he showed us consumption of external services. And that is done with basically using the metadata file of the service that is imported into the Cloud Application Programming Model project, and then you can consume the service. And that is actually what I started to do. And what we wanted to achieve with using the service, so the getting all the incidents from the SAP Service Marketplace, was to do better reporting on it. So how do we start it, and how does the architecture looks like? So this is a public GitHub repository also available for this project. So simply go there if you want to try it out yourself. Check out the README, and we see here the architecture as we just seen. So the SAP1 support launchpad does have an OData service for all the incidents. And the entities we want to use from there are the incidents and the action log. Because incidents is the total number, the action log is the number of interactions you had with SAP on a specific incident, containing also all the conversations. And to do the reporting, what we need to do is to do a full synchronization of this incidents to our local database. This database can be, of course, also HANA, but for the simple use case here, I use the SQLite database and do a local environment. I can run it local. I can also deploy it to Docker, and the instructions also contain instructions how to deploy it to Kima, for example. But let's get started locally, and let's have a look at what special things were done here in the CAP application. So first of all, we copied the EDMX file, so the metadata file, into our project as external. And then there is a command called CDS import. Then you specify this file, your service, external, and the incident res EDMX. Confirms it. I will not do it because it's already there. This will add the service to the, it will add it when you want to use it. I'm actually not using this definition. So it's quite some time I've used it the last time, but actually it is here. Sorry. Here we go. So the incident web service is an OData service. We have a model and we have a destination and the base path. So to use this in our CAP application. So that would be the result of doing the import here. After we've imported, we can not only then consume the service, but we can also base our own data model on this external service. And that's what I wanted to do to have a replica of the service with some additional usages. So, in the DB folder, we store all the data model, and the data model here, we define or import first this incident web service. Basically here we use the CSN files that was generated after the import. And two very important annotations are then the persistent skip, setting it to false, because we actually want to use the local persistence. And I think we also needed to add the persistence as a table. And to be able then to do also reporting stuff, I add additional analytics annotations. And then defines this entity based on the external entity. And what we also do is here adding some additional fields to have something where we, for example, get the total number of messages for our grouping in the analytical part. And we add what's unfortunately not done automatically when you use external definitions is the navigation stuff. So for the navigation, you have to define the association. And of course, you have also to define on what fields is this association related together. And the same is then for, let's go for the, that are some value helps that we also need and added. And here, of course, here at the end, we go to the message log, where we have also the association back to the message there. Good, so that's so far from the data model. And in the service part, it's quite straightforward. I think when we go to our reporting service, you see we expose the message header and go down then to the message log set. And where is the message log set? Here we are. Basically just a projection of the logs. We expose also some value helps because we want to have nice filtering in the Fiori UI. And this value helps are implementation based. So I have custom handlers and all value helps. Let's take one for the priority. When we look at the implementation here, it's basically very easy here. So it's a select from the priority text view. Let's have a look how this view was defined in the data model. So let's go to the value help, and in the sorry, that was the that is the DB service. Yeah, here is the view, and the view is a select distinct from the status text field of the message header set. So actually, this view already gives you only the distinct values. So yeah, view building with CAP and reusing that then in the custom handler to redirect the implementation. And I don't have to write a lot of code, just simply say, get me all the entries which we have here in this view. Good. And from the implementation part, the next interesting thing is, yeah, how to fill the data initially. And the initial filling of the data, let's have a look at our service once again. We see that we have here some actions defined. Besides classic entities, we have two actions. One is load data from mock. Another one is load data from SAP. And let's have a look into the implementation for the loading from mock. Here in the report service, here we have the load from mock. And here it's straightforward. We first delete all the existing entries and then get data from, we read the incidents and go here over a loop to fill all the entries once again. As we are calling here the message header set service. So let's see where this is defined. Yeah, here the message header set basically is a mocked service that will then write to the DB layer. Sorry, I have here the, that is actually the database connection, and that is from the mocked service. Good, let's give it a go and run this locally. So I do the npm start because it's starting in memory, as you see. Here we go. And we can now access the service, but actually it should be empty when we go into one of the applications. So you see no data found. What we have to do, actions are accessible only via a post request. So we have to use the my beloved REST client script. And there is a REST client script for the CAP endpoint. And here we can trigger now the load data from mock. And now we've transferred the data from the mock into our database. And let's give it a try, what we see now in the reporting. And I've used this example also quite a lot to learn about the annotations which can be done in analytical applications. And here we have this graphical filters which are possible. So let's do a filter on the send or not send. You see all the others are directly interacting, nicely related to that. And we can then go for the filter and get all the messages in detail in this reporting. This reporting page is not the only one. There's also one here for a demo of an overview page. And this gives different insights from what is the status of the messages, in which priority are they filed, and what is the system ID used there. So far, that is the part you can directly try without any hassle. Simply clone the project and give it a go, run it locally in your environment. The next step to actually fill it with data from SAP, from the service marketplace, is a bit more cumbersome. Because, so here we go with the current functionality, what you've seen, and loading data from the mock service, really straightforward. Just configure that in your default JSON to get the connection mocked via localhost. And if you want to go as the next step, what we need is, we need to somehow have access to the SAP Service Marketplace. And I've defined in the default env.json one section for the OSS, for the online support system, for the ones who are in older, they know the OSS quite well. I've defined this cookie section. And where do we get the cookie from? So an easy way might be that you use the cookie from your browser. So I simply could go here into this request, and if I refresh and look into the request that was done here, no request C visible. Let me do it once again. Why doesn't it record? I'm here in XHR. Here we go. So there would be this way to look here what cookie is sent here in this request, but that's really cumbersome. So there is a better way to go. And this better way is, you might have heard of your SAP passport. So if you don't have an SAP passport, simply go to this link and get yourself one. And passport is basically an X509 client certificate. So it represents your identity in a certificate, and that certificate you can download, and it gives you a so-called PFX file. And this PFX file you have to split up in two separate files, a key and a certificate file, because then what you can do with that is you can run this script simply, and let's do that now. So I stop the server and I run the update cookie, and that will now execute several steps. It will do a full SAML authentication using your SAP passport. So you're getting redirected to several servers, to the auth HANA on demand com, accounts sub.com, and back to the auth, and then to the Launchpad finally. And now we have a cookie that we can use for the authentication. So let's start again our application. And let's load data now from SAP. So here we are, load data from SAP. Click it, takes a bit longer, of course, more messages, and it's a remote server. And so might take some seconds more, but after it's finished, we can have a look at actual data that represents what your messages on the served marketplace are. So it looks a little bit different. Now we have actual system IDs here. We have messages in different status and priorities. And let's have a look at the reporting, which is now really showing, yes, this is a high score, say A23 system, whatever it is. Good, so that's what I wanted to show. Yeah, basically also to say it's very easy to like take some OData service, create a replica of it, synchronize data from this external service, and perhaps let's have a small look into the load data from SAP. What we basically used here is not directly the directly using the CUP integrated or the Cloud SDK requests. I've used here Axios because that made it easy to simply use the cookies and then constructed the OData requests on our own after we tested it in the browser or via the REST client. And yeah, give it a go, and you can learn a lot, I think, from this project, using it, deploy it also to Kima, and try out also the nice annotations that bring you the UIs for the overview page and for the analytical page. Thank you. Questions?
Excellent, Gregor. So obviously there's a lot to learn from you, not only with your PG beer shop, but also with the SAP SAML, with the SAP support message program. For me specifically, I like the white hat man in the middle kind of an attack with hijacking the cookie. Excellent dirty work. From the audience, I haven't received that many questions that directly apply to you now. I'd say, of course, you'll remain here in the chat as one of the co-organizers.
Yeah,
and then I can only relay claps and applause and compliments from the audience to you, also from me personally. Again, great hacking stuff.
Yeah, thank you. And looking forward, if there's contributions, improvements you want to do, if anyone wants to take this, how to get the cookie via the X509 certificate, make it a module in NPM, go ahead, please.
So we'll see you guys again at 2:35 p.m. with some CAP core sessions. Until then.
Yeah, see you.